We want to thank you, our valued viewers, for being part of this show and watching the show. Before we go, we know what time of the year it is, and of course we've got a message for you. And the Terrible Trio would want to send this warm message to you. Happy Christmas. What is this thing? Happy Christmas.
What are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, I want to say names. I'm like, hey, this guy, yo.
Happy Christmas.
Guys, let's go. There's no time. Now I'm even sweating now. Yes. Yes, this guy.
Okay. Calm me down, Mr. Mashu. Guys, seriously?
3, 2, 1.
Greetings, Africa. Welcome to yet another episode of Footprint of Africa, where, of course, African football, it is what makes this show running. It is the new show, new sheriff in town, and really where we make African football news fashionable. And as well, thanking you for your ever endless support to this show. Again, we do ask and request that help us in making sure that you continue to subscribe to the show. You can see the subscribe button is there. Press that like button, and of course, share this video. We are seeing the family is growing really from where we started. Thanks, of course, to all your contributions in making sure that you keep us going. Today, what are we discussing? It is election time, where in the land of Zimbabwe on the 25th of January, we are going to witness the election of a new president, new ZIFA board, exciting times. Everyone is waiting. It's a highly anticipated elections that is going to take place in Zimbabwe. Normalisation Committee has come and gone 18 months at the helm, of course, coming in after ZIFA was banned by FIFA. Yes, as we all know, the Warriors qualifying in the midst of this Normalisation Committee. Of course, for them, the Warriors, there was nothing abnormal or abnormal about their campaign to make sure that they qualify for Morocco 2025. There they are going to Morocco 2025. But it is matters, of course, that are going to happen in the boardrooms that we are so much interested in, that we are going to ventilate and try to see which way does it go. Yes, they spoke about the requirement, and one of those requirements has to do with an O-level certificate. What does it look like? You don't have to guess, because here in studio, I have it with me. Here it is. This is how the legitimate, genuine, original O-level certificate looks like. Gentlemen, I can't be alone. My guys are here to join me. It's Mr. Edobe Dina is here back from that fact-finding mission. Remember, he was not there in our last recording, but today he is back, and we had sent him to go somewhere to make sure that he brings us some juicy stories. Edobe Dina, welcome to the show. Timothy Batabaere, welcome to the show. But let me start with you, because you are not around. And what do you bring us with this? The certificate, you've seen it, the requirements are there, and it's seated here with me.
Before we even go any further,
yes,
we're cracking our heads, back in Zim,
yes,
that we need one of us. When I say one of us, we're talking about former footballers.
Former footballers.
With the 5 O-levels.
Yes.
Mr. Kapoja, you have 5 O-levels that is required. And you did not submit your name. What happened? What happened? We need people like you to lead.
Yes. He's right what Ed is saying. former player, of course, as former players, we are really advocating for former players to raise their hands and to be considered for the nominations. But, Tim, it's not as easy as Eddie might think it is when it comes to actually being legible, to put your name there and, of course, eventually be elected. There are so many amendments that happened when it comes to what is it that is required for you to stand for some of these positions, from president, vice president, executive committee members. They won't make it easy. It's not as easy as that I must just have this certificate and there I am, and I can also be allowed to participate in this election.
Thank you, Elasto. I think I need to put Eddie at rest at this moment in time. Reason being is that in his fact-finding mission that he was absent, maybe wanted to get proof that you get all the qualification. One of those is the 5 O-levels, which you have proved that you have got a certificate. But the truth of the matter is he missed his flight to Zimbabwe. Now, coming into the issue of these elections at this moment in time, it's very, very interesting. It's always say that when you birth a baby, you should be very careful when you're pouring away the water. You preserve the baby. Now that the Normalization Committee has received what is required of the candidates. Yes, rumor had it that there are some candidates who forge their documents, but you are innocent until proven guilty. And some of those being accused of forgery actually have submitted and have showed interest to stand. So we await the committee responsible to determine who then qualifies to stand completely. And then we are waiting for that new baby to be presented to Zimbabwe.
Yeah, gentlemen, talking about this issue of further assessing the candidates. But again, I want us to go back to the issue of academic requirements. It's one of a kind, honestly, looking at other presidential races that I know. You hardly hear that an FA president, an executive committee that is going to be a board of an FA, it has to have this academic requirement as a requirement. Your thoughts, gentlemen, Eddie, looking at this need for candidates to have minimum 5 O-level. Does it not discriminate against people that might have experience, that still want to come in football but do not have this kind of formal education requirement that has been put forward? If you look at as well, most former players, you might find that we might understand the game, but we might not have all these educational qualifications. Your thoughts on this requirement that Rosemary Mgaza, one of the Normalization Committee members, spoke about? Players must go to night school, so that you can be able to at least get some education.
No, we all know that education is very important. But for me, an ideal candidate should strike the balance between academic credentials and skills, management skills, and football knowledge, personal integrity. And you also talk about the knowledge of football itself. So once you have that, for me, you can vie for being the president of ZIFA.
And in a country where you have night schooling, there is no way you can object to a requirement of having the academic certificate presented. Because when you go into the boardroom, we have so many documents that are being presented. What is your structure plan? How do you want to develop this game of football? Their finances. Yes, you can come up with the theories that you'll get a Mr. Elasto Kapoeja, who has been successful at managing some clubs in South Africa, who can be part of your committee. But then you should be able to understand what Mr. Elasto Kapoeja is presenting to you. In the absence of those academic qualifications, you'll be found wanting.
Yes, found wanting indeed, that it cannot only be your education background that would actually make you a good FA president or a good executive committee member. It is not only education requirements that are part of those amendments. And there's also issues of how long you've been staying in the country as well. I mean, it takes, that's why I said that for me, it's not only me having the certificate, guys. It's talking about how long you've been staying in the country as well. So all these amendments and clauses, they seem really to, really sideline other maybe possible good candidates that we are really, not giving that opportunity to stand.
Mainly, if you want to look at it, you look at most of the ex-professionals, because they play wherever they're playing, whether it's in Europe, in South Africa, because they are staying that side. So now it is a way for them to say, okay, listen, these guys, they can really qualify to be in the sport. So what do? Let's try it now to say, if you haven't been in Zimbabwe for 2 years, then you don't qualify to be the ZIFA
So what does it look like being in Zimbabwe? So for 2 years, you must have been living in Zimbabwe for the last 2 years before.
So
the
what I'm
elections.
saying is that I played in South Africa for almost 20 whatever years.
More than 20 years you've been playing in South Africa.
So you buy a house in South Africa, and then now you'll be traveling to Zim in and out. Is that now part of being not in Zimbabwe for 2 years, or as long as you go in and out, does it count or it doesn't count?
And Eddie, are you now suggesting that the normalization committee at this moment in time was not normal? Should we question their foresight in trying to see what prerequisite they can put forward to try and get Zimbabwe football from this quagmire? Because from the issues that you are raising, it means that yes, so many qualified candidates will miss out. For example, if they were able to explain that yes, you must have stayed in the country maybe for 2 years, but the 2 years entail the fact that if you come in the country and you go back, that is counted as being in the country, because I will prove to you that I was in the country. So what counts as 2 years? So they are vague on that. But again, in this moment in time, I think you need to put laws and regulations that can bring the best candidates corporate Zimbabwe can provide. You want to get the best CEO, let me solve a telecom communication, trying to vie to lead football in your country. I think that's why that's the only way you can give us the best of Peter and Rovo, the Mwalwalis, the Kamabiriat coming forward. In the absence of that, then you are limiting your human resource.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, talking about how the world has changed, talking about how we are migrating and people, really going all over the world, it seems very unfair, really, to put in this restriction that you must have been in the country not more than 2 years or for however long you have to have stayed in the country before the elections, because circumstances these days have changed. We are former footballers, of course, all of us here, playing in a foreign country. We came to South Africa, played in South Africa, but if we need to contribute to back in our countries, surely that opportunity should be granted, especially for former professionals in the same field. Now, another requirement as well has to do with age. They say age ain't nothing but a number. But not so much when it comes to the ZIFA Congress, gentlemen. They are saying that you can't be UB40, under 40, you can't be. You have to be mature. I don't know that maturity, it means that you are over 40. So there's that element as well of an age. I thought age restrictions finished when we stopped playing football, where there's an under what. Even now with elections as well. How old was the French president when he rose to the throne? I mean, president of the country. He was way, way below 40.
Yep, right.
But now we are being told that a suitable ZIFA president cannot be under the age of 40. Your thoughts, Eddie?
It's very difficult, honestly, because anything can happen. I mean, what if you go to school 30 years old, you acquire your master's, you do PhD, whatever. So the experience is there.
Yes.
You have it. So now because you are 30 or you're 35, now you cannot be a candidate to be ZIFA president.
ZIFA president.
At this moment in time, it brings into question the composition of this normalization committee. Because if you so demand that a candidate must have 5 O-levels.
By the way,
Yes.
point of correction,
Yes.
Timothy, point of correction. This requirement of age, it was there before the normalization committee was
Yes.
actually instituted. Remember, Eddie,
Yes,
we had
it
an
was,
issue.
yeah.
I think it was Benjani who
Benjani
wanted,
who also tried, and he was under 40.
Who
He
could
was
not
under
stand,
40 at that
yes,
time,
at that
yeah.
time, where really it was thrown at Benjani. And sometimes, when these amendments are done, we tend to think, gentlemen, that it's like targeting
It's what I
former
was
players.
saying. It brings into question the composition of the normalization committee. Your responsibility is to normalize things. From the abnormal moment, you have been brought on board.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it means it was abnormal in that moment in time. So you intend to come up with regulations to normalize the running of football.
Yes,
So
I hear you.
the 40 plus age should not be an issue right now.
So
and I was trying to explain to you why.
Okay.
If you decide to say that you must have 5 O-levels, what going through my mind is, at what age do you acquire the 5 O-levels?
No, if 5 O-levels, it's an equivalent. If you're in South Africa, it's almost like a metric.
It's like a metric, yeah, it is.
So
Where you
we're
get
looking
it
at around
18, somewhere there.
19 years of
Yes,
age.
yes.
Now, if the qualification for you to be a candidate is 5 O-levels, it means at 19, you are ready to take up a leadership position.
I get what you're
How
saying.
do you then come and say
get
that
what
you
you're
have to be above 40 years of age? It doesn't anchor well.
No, it
I think it was an oversight at that moment in time. And guys, you are all responsible citizens. You can appeal so that this normalization committee can be corrected. It's never late.
It has been ratified already by the SRC, of course. The stage has been set. Names have been already put forward. How many names did you send around? How many names for the ZIFA presidents? I mean, it's only one. We only one president. Of course, there's the vice president, two vice presidents. One is to be a female, and of course, one vice president has to be a male, of course. And the ZIFA president. How are the names looking up?
10.
You were telling me that we've got about
10.
more than 10 names.
10 names
Just
for one position.
Oh, you can see hotly contested. So many names that want to be in that head to be voted. The president of ZIFA. Gentlemen, we've spoken about all these kind of limiting and sometimes restricting requirements that have been put forward by the Normalization Committee, ratified, of course, by the SRC. Now, looking at going forward now, the names, what are the names looking like? Who are those personalities that have raised their name, who are key, who have been involved in football, who can come and change the status quo? Remember, we're coming from an era of Felton Kamambo, where there were just a lot of controversies around that administration. Hence, the Sports Recreation Committee coming in to say that we've had enough, leading up, of course, to the suspension of ZIFA. But now we are looking for a new broom, hopefully that can sweep clean. From the names that you guys have, are there some of the names that really are giving you confidence that we are really going in the right direction when it comes to ZIFA elections and the new board that is coming on board, Mr. Dean?
We are always looking for a former player.
Okay, former players.
That everybody wants him to lead, to take the football back to where it was before. So it's very good to see Benjani Mwarwaru's name in there.
Benjani Mwarwaru,
which is very good. I
player.
think all the former players are very happy that one of us is now put his name in there, and then the name is in the head. So which is very good. You have the Twine Piri. We all know that he was Cape United, and same applies with Faraije.
So it's a combination.
So it is a combination
of those they have been in football, as well as former players. Of course, one name has come up, Benjani Mwarwaru. I'm not sure, Timothy, what you think of this name, Mwarwaru Benjani. who, for the second time, running, he's tried, and now he feels he's in a stronger position to try and push his way right to the top of football in Zimbabwe.
Look, Lester, at this moment in time, I would like to applaud all candidates that have, put themselves for scrutiny to lead football. It's one of the best investment opportunities that are there in the world. That's football. It's a great economy to run, and if you run it well, it serves you well. Now we are looking and vetting the candidates. Benjamin Mwalwali, being a former footballer, yes, he comes up tops on that. If you look at his pedigree, he has played football in the French league, Manchester City, Blackburn, even in South Africa. If you look at the composition, the majority of Zimbabwean players ply their trade in South Africa. He has been here, which means that in my preference, I will go for a candidate who has got a brand to attract various brands. Once put together, they'll be able to bring South African football, the federation, to the map. You need a candidate who can sit on the round table to have a meeting of minds with the head of state, with the rest of state enterprises to come on board and lift football. I'm sure the likes of Benjamin Mwalwali reaching out to Elasto Kapoeja, Eddie, Peter Andro, Ezro Munyandoro,
anytime.
Name them. They will be able to take up that position to serve Zimbabwean football. I think that's what you need. What he needs to encourage former players to do is to get to understand what is taking place in the local league, what are the structures. As we are analyzing the upcoming elections, I'm interested to find out who are the voters. The composition,
we'll come to who are the voters, because maybe that it is very important as well to look at who are the electorate, who are the people that the delegates that, of course, are going to cast that vote. But coming back to Mwarwaro, of course, the names that I can also share with you, the likes of Nomile, Magwizi, Themba Muliswa is there, the good prophet, Walter Magaya is there, Gift Banda, former vice president of ZIFA, Martin Kweza. So the list is on, like what Eddie said, that almost 10 names that are vying for that post of ZIFA president. But now, gentlemen, former player, what might work against Benji? They might throw this book at him of saying that, but he doesn't have experience when it comes to football administration. What would be the counter response to this kind of an assertion? Because at times it can be used, but let's look at where this former player has been, the kind of experience he might have acquired in all these international football environments where you would think he has been schooled. So your thoughts, Mr. Eddie, to say that, but players, I mean, we can take the example of Samuel Eto'o, for example. Eto'o is the FA president of Cameroon. Mm-hmm. No administration background whatsoever. Education, even worse, we don't know. We never heard of any university that Samuel Eto'o went to. We might speak under, correction, I'm not sure. But how would Benjani convince those that are going to vote that he has what it takes to be able to lead ZIFA?
It's going to be a very, very difficult task for him, because if he hasn't attended any course or whatsoever, then it's going to be very difficult for him. Because one, where he plays, was it about playing soccer, or it was about being the administrative side? So now, him now to answer that is going to be very difficult.
Because maybe he might be learning. Seeing how football is managed.
Who knows that?
No, Eddie. Eddie and Elasto, this is something very simple. Yeah. If Benjamin qualifies, then I expect him now and his camp to have identified
he's talking about now that the question that is going to be thrown at him now, before he even qualifies, that you don't have the experience of running administrative.
But that's very easy, because if I've got Dr. Elasto Kapoeja here in my team, willing to serve, let me serve the CEO of the federation, And I'm presenting to you that I'm able to bring the likes of Gavin Hunt to be the head coach, the likes of Baxter, the likes of Pep Guardiola to come and be the head coach of the national team, and I'm the leader. I'm able to attract such quality. Then how do you question my ability to lead the federation? So that is something simple. He needs to come up with a team that's going to lead the federation in the right direction and present it to the voters.
There you go. Timothy seems to feel that there's nothing that Benjamin Marwar should be worried about. He can just assemble a great team, create executive committee that can help him. And with his experience, of course, of playing football in every environment, highest international arena, that should augur well for him being a ZIFA president. Gentlemen, quickly, who are the electorate? Who are the people that are going to vote? I mean, they are called councillors, delegates. Who are these people? Tim, you can quickly take us through. Who are these people that now are going to cast the votes, that the candidates have to convince?
I'm already worried. News coming out from Zimbabwe is that some of these councillors were soliciting for something for
yes,
the
allegations, of course.
before they can approve the candidate. So if that is true,
some of them were asking for money.
Yeah,
of course,
that's true.
Yes.
They always ask for money.
Yeah,
they always ask for money, and then they
those are
give
the
you the votes.
deadwood. Those are the deadwood that the normalization committee should have eliminated instead of saying that somebody who is 40 years and above should
but
not
they are
run.
there, whether we like it or not.
Exactly.
Who are they? Who are these people?
Look, we have got 78 members
78. Oh my God.
to cast the vote. In that, it's broken down
Yeah, it's
into,
broken down
you know, you've got
different,
the 18, this 18 PSL member
Yes,
with
you've got
having, two votes, one vote each. You have got the female league, that is 16.
Yes,
They qualify that. You have got the 4 regional football regions also presenting. You have got the tertiary institutions, primary and secondary schools also bringing. So they make a vote, a block vote of 78. So from the 78, you'll need to present your manifesto, convince them that you're the right candidate for the job, and you'll stand a chance.
We hope that the councillors, the infamous at times councillors, but they've got a role to play, and we can't really prove for sure. Nobody has come forward. Nobody has gone to a police station and actually laid a charge against the councillors that really they were trying to bribe them and so forth. But for now, yes, like I said earlier, the stage has been set. The ZIFA elections, they are going to take place on the 25th of January. And yes, the former players are hoping that Benjamin Marwar, who has put his hand up, will rise to the throne. It's high time that, yes, such kind of a scenario as well unfolds, and eventually we get to have a voice as former players in terms of how the football business, especially in the boardroom itself, how it pans out, and to make decisions that, of course, pertain football in the country of Zimbabwe. Talent galore, you can't question, you can't doubt the talent in Zimbabwe. As we've seen that with all these shambles, still they were able to qualify without breaking a sweat for Morocco 2025. Thank you for joining us, watching the show. We want to thank you, our valued viewers, for being part of this show and watching the show. Before we go, we know what time of the year it is, and of course we've got a message for you. And the Terrible Trio would want to send this warm message to you.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year
to you all. Guys, it's not easy, this thing.
Yo, hi, Mr. Kaposh. Excess. Hey.